Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with an update to the Sultai ramp deck that I've been grinding to Mythic. You can see I'm currently ranked number 144. I promised some gameplay. We'll have Market Monday a little bit later today, so be expecting that video. I'm not taking away from the sacredness of the Market Monday that always happens on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. We'll get it off today on Monday. But anyway, I wanted to show everyone this because I did promise some gameplay. And this is the highest I've been able to get. I think my rating was 142. It's dropped a little bit since I hit the 142 as people have passed me up. There's going to be a huge race to that top 16, I think, that locks you in. Can't remember what the top... I think this qualifies for an end of season tournament if you're in the top 500-ish. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm noob to this whole arena thing. Never really cared about grinding to Mythic, but this deck's been a lot of fun. I seem to excel in metas that give you a puzzle to solve. I haven't really liked Standard for the past 2 years because most of the standards have been solved. They've been pretty much a couple of tier decks. Those tier decks have been quite linear. There have been... basically the best cards. There wasn't a lot of room for innovation because there are strictly better cards for each slot. I feel like right now in Standard you have the ability to customize, the ability to kind of metagame, the ability to innovate, and you can kind of justify a lot of the slots that can go in those slots. It's just not, running Hazoret and nothing comes close to Hazoret. There are a few of those cards. I still think like Wilderness Reclamation and Teferi and Narset are a bit of a problem. They're keeping back strategies that might be able to perform, and then I'm not a big fan of Embercleave either. So, I mean, there's still some poorly designed cards in Standard, but I think this is better than we've had in the past 2 years. Ravnica Allegiance had a window where Standard was good, and then it got killed pretty quickly when people figured it out. And then, of course, Oko was terrible for Standard and Veil of Summer. And then even like Guilds of Ravnica Standard was pretty terrible as well. And then before that, like the rotation before this was miserable with Dominaria and such. So this is, I think, why I've been so successful is I've always never been a person that can play a tier deck because it just, it hurts my stomach to do so. Makes me want to vomit if I play a tier deck, hence the name Rogue Deck Builder. This is kind of a net decky-ish deck, but again, I've been able to customize it. And I've been able to metagame and been able to really figure it out, which is what I like about Magic the Gathering. It is a puzzle to be solved. Now, I'm kind of rambling here, but we'll get to some gameplay and we'll get to the updated deck list. But again, that's why I'm having fun. I do kind of suffer a little bit from imposter syndrome. I have made a pro tour. I have top-aided 2 PTQs. I top forward 2 of the what are called second chance at GPs, where if you get eliminated day 1, you can do a 300-man tournament. And I've top forward those, and that's kind of my accomplishments in paper Magic. And I've had some okay accomplishments on MTGO, but I've always suffered kind of with imposter syndrome to think that I'm not good enough to play with the big dogs. And this has kind of been a fun run. Just was a challenge by a couple of my patrons to see how far I could go with my mono black deck. And then when my mono black deck started running into problems with when Theros was released, Theros added some cards that really shut down my version of mono black, especially Esper Control. Esper Control is basically unwinnable. I switched over to this deck, and it's been fun to kind of tinker and toy with this to find the right numbers to actually compete. It's been a wild ride. I've been as high as, like I said, 142, which I've been now, and I've actually gone on such a massive losing streak that I've gone down to 95% Mythic, which is just, that's many, many thousands of ranks down, and then had to grind back up with some of these new lists. So let's get to the deck. I've been rambling here. So the deck that I've been playing here is the Sultai ramp, and the big difference now that has got me back up is Tamiyo. Tamiyo is a powerhouse right now in the meta. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to discard or sacrifice permanents is very relevant, actually. There have been a lot of games where my opponents have tried to make me sacrifice things, and they can't because of Tamiyo being out. What is it? Is it Doom Foretold, I think is the card that says you have to sacrifice? So... being about each player's upkeep, that player sacrifice an online non-token permanent. That player can't. They discard a card and they lose 2 life and you draw a card. So it stops it. I think it still triggers. I haven't actually coming through the scenario. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Does it stop it from being able to then kill itself and draw cards. Not quite sure if that's the way it works with Doom Foretold. But I mean, it still doesn't feel as bad as them. One of the things with a Doom Foretold lock is it's very tough for you to get more than 2 permanents, non-land, non-token permanents out with this deck, and so they can kind of lock you for a few turns while sacrificing their eggs. But anyway, I did come across a couple of the black-red decks trying to get me to discard and sacrifice, and Tamiyo is shut down that aspect. I guess it would shut down the Doom Foretold's discard aspect of it, so that's pretty good too. Anyway, Tamiyo has been super good because of the synergy, though, with Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. This is just a huge powerhouse because Tamiyo just fills up your graveyard consistently. It can also dig for your Uro and then from the graveyard cast it no problem. Still, I think this deck needs a little bit of tinkering because I've gone pretty sporadically through the numbers of cards, added some key pieces that I think have given me more reasonable matchups against are reasonable chances against matchups that I was struggling against. Still struggle with mono red. I don't think there's really anything that I can do against mono red except play best of 3 and then have sideboard cards for mono red. It's still a tough matchup. And the Rakdos aggro, not Rakdos Knights or Rakdos Sacrifice, but Rakdos aggro, where they're using more, full-blown all-out aggro, does also tend to be a tough matchup for this ramp deck. Other than that, like, all the control matchups are pretty good because of cards like Hydroid Krasis is just going to be hard for control decks to keep up with. And same thing if you do get like a Tamiyo, and there are some flavors of control where Casualties of Wars is just amazing because you pressure them to throw out their absorbs and their Dovin's Vetoes early to counter other threats, and then the Casualties of Wars just oftentimes, if you're going against like Esper, it's not unheard of to get a 5-for-1 with Casualties of Wars, having them have an artifact, creature, enchantment land, and planeswalker out. So this is still kind of the go-to strategy of the deck, is try to ramp to a Casualty of Wars, but I have cut the numbers since last time. One of the additions too was Polukranos Unchained. This is a very good card in a lot of the mid-range matchups and aggro matchups. So I was first not a fan of Polukranos Unchained, but with Tamiyo, it adds a whole more another aspect of getting cards in your graveyard to recast the Polukranos, and the being able to fight down your opponent's creatures is pretty relevant. There was like an Elementals deck where I got Polukranos out and was able to snipe off some Leafkin Shamans as well as some Risen Reefs, and Polukranos is still alive and was able to snipe them all off and keep them off their elemental count, and it even kills like opponents' Arboreal Grazers. Not that great of a thing, but again, when they're running like Finale of Devastation or the End-Raise runners, these Grazers are going to be threats later on. And Polukranos has also fought off things like annoying things like Priests in the Rakdos decks, or trying to think of some other these cards that Polukranos is traded pretty favorably with. And it's just once you get it back with 12 counters, then it's going to really start to fight. And when you're a ramp-based deck, that's no problem to dump a lot of mana into Polukranos. So I have liked the one of Polukranos. I don't know if I'd run more of them. Against Control 2, it can be a turn 3 with like a Paradise Druid, and a 6/6, if they don't take care of it quickly, is going to take over the game. It's hard to justify running Polukranos over things like Questing Beasts and other decks, but I think it does fare pretty well in this deck. Another card I have put in as a one-of is Cavalier of Thorns. It kind of feels like your 5th Casualty of Wars. It also helps like with Tamiyo filling up the graveyard for Uro. Basically, if you're running Tamiyo and Cavalier of Thorns, you can go down the count of Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, because you do want to see one of them in every game, and these two cards are a way to dig for them. Surprisingly, one of the cards that feels the weakest in this deck is Nissa, who shakes the world. I've actually been siding out Nissa against a lot of matchups. Mono red is a matchup I will side out Nissa. Now, a lot of people might disagree with that, but it seems like it's just too slow, and I'd rather have any other 5-drop at that point. I'll be siding out Casualty of Wars, and the majority of those. There are a couple of exceptions where I'll keep in Casualty of Wars based upon the flavor of the mono red deck, but Nissa and Casualty of Wars go out, and then you go to a lower curve with the sideboard cards. So speaking of the sideboard, let's just go. Oh, I have cut a Deathsprout too. This one doesn't seem as good right now in the meta. It might actually go down another copy and put like an Assassin's Trophy in the main. Let's go to the sideboard. The sideboard I've cut down to 2 Aether Gust because I figure the Assassin's Trophy does everything the Aether Gust wants to do. Like most of the time, Aether Gust is here for Embercleave. I could also get rid of like opposing Nissas, and I mean, it's very versatile in a green or red spell. There's tons of decks that use green or red. Things like Wilderness Reclamation decks are majority green and red cards. But Assassin's Trophy has basically done the job of Aether Gust. It kills the Ember Cleave or kills the target the Ember Cleave goes down on. And you really just need both Aether Gust and Assassin's Trophy is like a panic button to establish your strategy, and then you're going to go over the top of those particular decks. So Assassin's Trophy kills Narset, which is one of the cards that this deck is having problems with. So Blue-White Control and Esper Control, they're mainly winning those matchups when they establish a Narset, and then my Euro or Hydroid Krasis get kind of shut down from drawing cards. So having another sideboard option to take care of Narset, I think is pretty important. Mystical Dispute is still a necessary evil in this format because of just the tempo aspect of it. I've thought about going to Negate rather than Mystical Dispute, but Mystical Dispute, the 1 mana to 2 mana, is huge for blue decks. There will be times, though, going against like Wilderness Reclamation decks or more mono blue, or not mono blue, blue-white control, where Mystical Dispute is actually pretty much a dead card because you basically against that matchup go land go, land go, land go, land go, land go, and they get up to the point where they can actually pay for Mystical Dispute. So I'm still toying around with the numbers of this. It still does seem more powerful than Negate, but who knows? Who knows if this needs to be replaced with another like hard counter. There's a pretty decent one out of Throne of Theros that could go in this slot. And like I said, Negate is still pretty good, but it's the 1 mana, being able to have your opponents always have to play around it, I think is key for this deck, because you want to get to the later the game goes, I think the bigger the advantage this deck has against the majority of decks. So Mystical Dispute is countering most of the blue spells that we find problematic at the moment. I've cut down to 1 of Ritual of Soot. Every time I cut this, I end up wanting it back because it really is great against mono red. It's very good against like Knights. It's good against the majority of the green or Gruul-based decks. However, the deck doesn't seem to have such a problem against those matchups. And here's one of the problems with sideboards is most of those matchups, you don't have a lot of stuff that you want to cut anyway. So like I said, sometimes Casualty of Wars will come out, but you already have Enter the God Eternals, which is going to do a better job than Ritual of Soot in most of those matchups. It's going to gain you 4 life, lead back a 4/4 zombie, and mill yourself to go get Euros. So I don't know. I think Ritual of Soot it's one of those things that I would want more in my sideboard, but A, don't have these sideboard slots for it, and B, you don't really side out a lot of cards. At that point, you're like siding out cards that are still relevant against those matchups, and it doesn't become that big of an upgrade. So when you're assessing your sideboard, you really have to keep that in consideration of how much value does this add to my sideboard? How many matchups is this going to be the saving grace? I've also come to the point where Ritual of Soots have had to kill Paradise Druids and things like Hydroid Krasis that have been out, and then it's just one of those miserable experiences where, I have to use it because they're establishing a board state, but I also have to kill my own stuff. So I don't know. I don't know about this card. This is still to be determined. I had the Witches, I can't even remember what it's called, the one that gives -3/-3 to a creature of a specific type. I think that Enter the God Eternals is also doing a better job. A lot of times you don't need a sweeper in this deck. You just need to get rid of specific threats. Enter the God Eternals still is very good. It's very good at establishing exactly what this deck wants, which is self-mill, 4 damage, 4 life, and a 4/4 zombie. So I'm still think this card is pretty good. It's better than the alternatives. It stabilizes you perfectly for the mono red matchup, and like the Gruul matchup, it's what you want to hit. Now, my latest edition, Thought Distortion. I put this in my deck because someone used it against me. I kind of laughed because when they used it against me, I had no non-creatures, non-lands. I had a handful of Euros and Hydroid Krasises, but they felt that they should bring it in because I think that game 2 I countered something and wouldn't allow them to rip my hand out, and they brought Thought Distortion in. But man, is this card really good against Esper and blue-white. There have been a couple games where I Thought Distortion and hit like 6 cards out of my opponent's hand. They can't counter it. They can't do anything. It just comes down and you rip their hand to pieces. So Thought Distortion, it would typically be a bad card at 6 mana because most decks would be out of cards at that point. But with how this deck works, is most of the matchups are both decks are going to be full of cards. Like if you're going against Esper control or you're going against UI control, they're drawing a ton of cards. When I say a ton of cards, they are drawing a ton of cards with the Thirst for Meanings and now the Thassa's, the searches for 2 cards. All those cards are going to keep filling them up. They also have that enchantment that draws cards and then scries, and a lot of times they are pretty good at filling up their hand. Same thing with like dropping it to Fairy and just plussing to Fairy or minusing to Fairy just to draw a card. Those things keep them up about the same card advantage that you are. And if you get a Thought Distortion when everyone's been playing this land go draw, land go draw, land go draw type strategy, you get the Thought Distortion, you can rip their hand to pieces, get rid of all the absorbs and the Dovin's Vetoes and all the other stuff that they've been holding to stop your game plan. So I think that having a 2 of Thought Distortion is where this deck wants to be. So all of these pair really well with Tamiyo. I'm thinking that Tamiyo has added a whole oomph to this deck, not just by digging for Euro, but also for having that 5th, 6th, 7th copy of Casualties of Wars, where you can actually use Casualties of Wars to lock out opponents. I've had some very grindy games versus like Golgari Adventures and Teamer Adventures and Wilderness Reclamations, where it's taken like 5, 6, 7 Casualties of Wars to really cut them out of a specific color, or grind through what they keep on coming with their cards. So Tamiyo, really good card right now in this meta. All right, so I've rambled and rambled. I am too scared to actually do a regular video for ranked. So let's just play an unranked game of this with the Sultai ramp, and I'll see how it goes. Oops, let's do one that has traditional play. One of the reasons that I'm not playing in ranked is this might just be psychological, but I play terribly when I also stream/record. And I know people want to see more gameplay, but when I'm this high ranked, I need to think. I need to swear at Arena for not giving me lands. I need to just get in the kind of the mode, the flow. And when I stream, I often want to keep the chatter going so people don't get bored and turn off. Like one of my biggest pet peeves when watching other streamers or watching other people play Magic the Gathering is the dead time. And so I have this need to just keep the flow going, and then I miss things and click too quickly and just do stupid stuff. So that way I'm not going to play ranked. I'll just play something that's not on the line here. So this is a mulligan. You don't want to keep 2 landers in this deck. It's about unless you have like a Paradise Druid or any way to dig. So I'm going to ship this back. Now this hand is pretty garbage too, but we'll keep it, and we'll throw a Paradise Druid because it's probably the worst card with the duplicate. This hand's not terrible because we get a ramp with the Grazer, throw in a Temple of Deceit. Temples are super strong in this deck. I don't know what I'm playing against, so I'm actually going to ship Casualties of Wars back, as I don't know if it's going to be relevant. So now I'm wishing I would have kept it, because the first turn Fabled Passage is often going to be an island. Okay, I have no clue. But Fabled Passage first turn can easily be the ones that throw it out first turn is the Fire's Invention. They're the ones that always decide to go because they don't have a first turn or a second turn play with anything, so they just chuck it out. Let's go Paradise Druid and pass the turn. And we have a Hydroid Krasis. So I'd, of course, love to hit a land drop. If we hit a land drop, we have Nissa, Hydroid Krasis. We're all very familiar with this draw because, yeah, this does look like it's Fire Inventions. Because of this combo's been around since War of the Spark. Everyone's played this one like crazy. Unfortunately, we missed our land drop, but we did get a Euro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. And that sucks, gets us another Euro. So we did not ramp up. We kind of wasted a turn. And a Gateway Plaza. Okay, so probably going to get something more casual than normally would. But we did find our 4th land, so now we are in great shape. Still don't want to attack in. I don't like to attack in with Paradise Druids just in case they have a Banishing Light or some way to. All right, so it is Fire's Invention. So Fire's Invention throws a old school Fire's Invention, withdrawn from Dreams. I haven't seen this card being played in Fires for a while. So now I do want that Casualty of War. I think the best thing we can do here is just Nissa. Yeah, it's still Nissa. Nissa puts him under the most pressure. and also gives us a huge Hydroid Krasis, they can hopefully get us a huge... All right, so this is the Planeswalker version, which will give us a huge Casual Wars later on, hopefully. So our opponent's going to throw back our Forest. They have one more card they can throw out this turn. So this can be a old school Sarkhan version. Another Drawn from Dreams. This will take their turn. So we'll be able to kill Teferi. Hopefully go for a big Hydroid Krasis. Opponent does have to discard. They do. Ooh, Casual Wars is perfect. All right, this is huge. Okay, so tap the Overgrown Tomb. Tap, tap. I think tap like this. We'll go Casualty of War. They can't do anything to it. They have no creature but enchantment, land, and planeswalker. We can get rid of... what do we want to keep them off of? A mountain, I think? For another Fire's Invention, at least make it more difficult. Yeah, that's fine. And our opponent just scoops it up. This is typically how the Fire's Inventions matchups go. I haven't played against the Planeswalker version in quite some time, just because it's typically not as strong, in my opinion, as the Cavalier version. The Cavalier version has the nut draws. It has the best way to play your game. I think Fire's Invention does want to be a very linear deck. Planeswalker version does okay, but it's easily disrupted. All right, so in this one, I think we bring in 2 Assassin's Trophies. We bring in 2 Aether Gusts. Let's go ahead and throw this up here. I don't know if we care about Mystical Disputes. I'll probably bring in Thought Distortion. The things we don't need, like Grazers are okay because they can still ramp you, but we're going to take them out. We're definitely going to take out Deathsprout versus the Planeswalker version. We have Cavalier of Thorns is probably unnecessary in this one. So everything else is doing our game plan. Oh, we don't need Polukranos. So Polukranos can come out and, you know, we could try a Deathsprout. We didn't see any creatures there could be. I'm just going to throw in a 1 Mystical Dispute to kind of throw them off. So the name of the game, Thought Distortion, I think is still pretty strong. If we can get there the same turn, they go like Fire's Invention to Teferi like they did last time, and then draw a card, then we can literally rip their hand out. If they're playing all Planeswalkers, no creatures, I would not bring this in versus a regular Fire's Invention deck because they actually don't use... All right, Layla in a Void. Kind of weird flex there. I do use the graveyard for Euro, but I definitely trade a card. This is a typical mistake that I see a lot of players play. Like, I play Phoenix and Pioneer, and I always laugh when people bring in graveyard hate for Phoenix when it's the only card that recurs from my graveyard. So Euro now, we can throw to the bottom because we're not going to get the same oomph out of it. And yeah, it's fine. And we get one anyway. So we'll go Overgrown Tomb, pay the 2 life, and pass the turn. Like I could Assassin's Trophy it, but yeah, I don't think it's a threat. So see if Teferi's coming down. Sure is. So we need to grow Spiral so we can still do it at instant speed. And we need another black. No, we don't. We do not need another black, so we'll go Temple of Mystery. And Nissa actually seems okay, but it's kind of slow. I think I'm going to keep Nissa here because we get out the following turn, and that'll help us ramp into... Yeah, the Distortion. So, Euro is just going to be an expensive Explorer. This one can go to the bottom, which is fine. Goodbye, Euro. And we'll put Temple into play. And if we actually top deck... Ooh, wrong top deck of land. This one comes into play tapped. If we were to have like a basic land or a shock land that comes into play untapped, then we'll go Casualties this next turn. See if they do have Fire's Invention. Narset. Narset is not something we need to worry about, especially if we do get a land. Oh, we can just kill it with... we can kill it with Nissa. So unfortunately, we don't hit... So I don't want the Overgrown Tomb to die, so we're just going to put it on a Temple of Malady. So, and then attacking a Narset. Call that good. And there's Fires. So opponent has another Teferi. That's pretty terrible, though, because it takes away one of the oh, gonna run that back. Okay, not as bad as no, because we can still cast everything with Nissa. So one more card. What can they actually do to take care of Nissa? Nothing really has summoning sickness like the Sarkon. All right, so cool. We just get to Casualty of Wars here, and my opponent should probably scoop again. So we'll keep a breeding pool on top. The more lands the merrier at this point. And we can untap Overgrown Tomb, tap Overgrown Tomb, tap, tap, and we'll Casualty of War. Destroy target enchantment, land, and planeswalker. Dunzo. So the enchantment fires an Invention. We'll hit the Sacred Foundry, and we'll hit the Teferi. So there's a fires out of the way. Another fires, but my opponent's really not going to like my other play. That's 2 cards this turn. I think they need to dig for a land here to make sure they can cast Sarkon, which they do. With Fabled Passage, they shouldn't have cracked it this early, because now if they get a mountain, I take out the island. Yep. And we go Breeding Pool. I kind of just want to go for a Thought Distortion just to see what our opponent has in their hand. Oh, they're just going to scoop it up. That's a typical Fires match. Like, this deck was built to beat Fires. The Cavalier deck can be a little more tricky because they can outpace you. That's why against that deck, I'll keep in the Grazers just so I can get that one step ahead to take care of the Fires of Invention. But yeah, again, that's pretty typical there. Alrighty, so let's go to another match. We'll play a few of these here. Kind of funny there's Fires of Invention in the casual play. Maybe it's people like us that are just, you know, testing decks or not wanting to play ranked for whatever reason. I think it still tries to pair you up against people with your ranking even in the just play. Not sure exactly how they do with MTG Arena. All right, so this is basically the nuts, I would say, because we have a 2nd turn Growth Spiral and then a 3rd turn Euro and possibly a 4th turn Casualty of War. So depending on what we're facing, this hand is pretty good. So it's going to be a blue-white control. Unfortunately, we did not hit a land there that guarantees we can get that early card out. Polukranos is actually pretty funny just to drop here. So I think that Tamiyo is probably better, though. So we're going to name, I'm going to just name something. It doesn't matter what we name here. Probably something like, so we have a Casualty of Wars. We probably just want to name like either Growth Spiral, because we do want to cast a Growth Spiral, or something like Hydroid Krasis. Hey, and we do hit a Hydroid Krasis. Throw 3 Casualty of Wars and a Cavalier away. So at least we got those. We're going to be flooded with lands. And unfortunately, we don't have a land to get back with Tamiyo. That's usually what I like about Tamiyo. See if it gets Banishing Lighted here. Does not. So our opponent gets to keep up. Lame. So I'm going to cast a Growth Spiral here. No, I think we go... Yeah, I'm going to go Growth Spiral. All right, so we did get a land. We still have a land drop, though. Unfortunately, we do want that passage on top, I would assume. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to use... We can't cast another one. I think I'm just going to grab... We have Cavalier we can cast. So I'm not going to mill because I want that land. So we're just going to go for the Cavalier, I think. Because it's another must counter from my opponent. They'll probably like opt, yep, Thirst for Meaning or opt in a turn. So we are a little bit behind because of the awkward land drop. But our opponent doesn't have any threats out right now. They can do like Teferi, and our set would be trickier for us to deal with than... No, because we just... Well, yeah, we have Casualty of Wars. That... My opponent decides not to play Teferi, so there's 100% Absorb in my opponent's hand. So we're going to crack the Fabled Passage. and go get just a forest is fine. And now we got to bait our opponent into... I'm going to plus, because we want Tamiyo to stick around. And so here we've used 2 growth spirals. What do we have the most cards that we can hit? That's usually how I'm going to go Paradise Druid here. Perfect, because the reason I had Paradise Druid, didn't explain myself before, is if it gets countered, we get a Euro that sticks. This also helps us ramp for more things. Okay, perfect. I could go like Polukranos and force out the absorb there, but I'm going to try to force my opponent to counter Euro. But I mean, that's as bad as counter. Okay, Smartly does not counter. I see this card gets countered a ton. So opponent needs to establish a threat. They're one away from the Dream Trawler. Ugh, we need lands. So I am actually going to get a land. So let's get a swamp.
I have learned much from my ancestors.
And now we could go for like a big Hydroid Krasis. We could go for Euro. If Euro gets countered, we have a Polukranos. Yeah, that's fine. So what don't we need? Here we have a copy of Casualties of Wars in our hand, so we can get rid of both of them. I want to keep a Growth Spiral as an option. We have a Hydroid Krasis in our hand. We have a Nissa in our hand. So these ones we will exile. This will probably bait out an absorb. And in all honesty, we could also possibly get a... we'll throw out Polukranos here. And that will force out a Shatter. So my opponent's going to cast Shatter the Sky this turn, most likely. And then we'll at least get a draw card off of it. Oh, he's going to bounce it. All right, that's fine.
I know my responsibility.
So bounces. And, interesting. I think we go for Nissa. Because Nissa can then cast. So we want to tap the non-ramping lands. We'll go Nissa. And if this gets countered, does get Dovin's vetoed. What do we have we can actually cast here? Well, first of all, let's go ahead and fill the graveyard. We'll go for, at this point, like another Nissa, I think is what we'd want to hit. There's 2 in the graveyard. What is the most? Yeah, we'll go another Nissa. Hey, we hit. And that allows for Euro. And we don't need any of this stuff. Submit those. And hopefully this hits a land so we don't have to discard. It indeed does. We'll go ahead and crack that. Get it the last forest in our deck. And I think our opponent needs to shatter this turn.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
Interesting. All right, we'll throw out a Nissa or a Temple of Deceit first. And I think at this point we want to bottom that. Yeah. And I'm going to attack with both into Teferi. Now here comes the Shatter. Oh, he's going to allow it to happen. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. So this should get a Shatter. There's another Fabled Passage. We're running out of basics, though. Just going to let it happen, huh? Okay. Well, now we can cast things at instant speed. Let's dig for something. I think at this point, I don't know, I'm just going to name something like Hydroid Krasis. It misses. Getting kind of low on cards. And then we'll go with the Nissa. Guess I should have cracked my Fabled Passage first. That gets Dovin's vetoed. Sure. Not a problem. Do we have Casualties of Wars? We don't. I didn't want to do Cavalier. So I'll just do something like Polukranos. Probably still going to get shattered. I'm assuming like shatter comes down right here. Yep. That did bait it out 100% though. Now we're in good shape except for we've self-milled quite a bit. I don't know if I can even go Tamiyo even more. Yeek. So Deathsprout, we can make it tap it down on our opponent's turn. Casualties of War is kind of bad here. Now, I think we just do... Hydroid Krasis is kind of bad now that I think about it, too. So we're going to Hydroid Krasis and leave up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want Hydroid Krasis to be a 5. Does that make it as a 5? Yes, it does. So Hydroid Krasis for 5. I'll go with the Temple of Malady. Only 18 cards left in our deck. Deathsprout can still get a card out of our opponent's hand, which is okay. We'll keep it on top. I could actually name Deathsprout here. I'm just going to keep Tamiyo at 3, and we'll just pass the turn. And I think I'm going to do, on my opponent's upkeep, we're going to Deathsprout to tap that sucker down. So I'm not allowing my opponent to draw another land they could use. So just going to be a Plains. But that keeps my opponent off being able to attack with it. Oh, yai, not another one. So I think... Are we out of... I think I'm out of basics. Maybe I have another island left. I do. So it's like killing Tamiyo here for a... Do I have another Tamiyo in the graveyard? I could go Tamiyo for Tamiyo. No. I think the better thing to do here is to kill Tamiyo for Nissa. Just because of the ramp that Nissa is going to provide is going to be pretty decent. So I'm going to tap, again, as many non-forests as possible. So Temple of Malady for the green. We have to do 1 forest here. And we can do a black source. Nissa can come down. This will give us a lot of ramp. So now we can tap, tap, untap, tap, and we can go for Casualty of War, target creature and land. So this one and a land. And this will get out another card from my opponent's hand, I would assume. Could just allow it to happen if they really like their hand. Nope, there's another Birth of Malady. And that gets resolved. Still hits. We can Deathsprout. I think I'm going to... Polukranos is interesting because then I can fight and tap it down. Need a green left though. So do I have enough? So 6. So if we go black, no, I don't think I have enough. So Deathsprout could get that last card out, but I think again we want to do it at our opponent's upkeep. So I think what we're going to do is this is blue, blue. So blue, blue, and green. We'd still have enough for Deathsprout, which is black, black, and green, yes. So we're going to go with Euro. Which gets another land, surprise, surprise. And Hydroid Krasis is so dead now. We don't have any cards left for Hydroid Krasis. So we're going to resolve. It dies. No, it doesn't die. And then again, we'll just go next. And then we'll make no attacks. and then end, and then our opponent's upkeep again. We're going to get one of these Dream Trawlers tapped down. Another land. Okay, we didn't know that that's what it was. So this other Dream Trawler has to attack into a Hydroid Krasis, which we should be good. Does get our opponent a card, though. Which is annoying. I can't even really do the we need Polukranos to hit. Ay, ay, ay. Euro is terrible. I could lose this just because we don't have enough cards left in our graveyard. What we're going to do is we're going to tap the Overgrown Tomb and tap to go Polukranos. We have plenty of things we can get rid of out of here. See if there's an Absorb. Thirst for Meaning. Sure. So digging for an Absorb. I'm going to cast this stupid Growth Spiral just because it won't quit asking me if I want to cast this stupid thing. And then we can untap that's Temple of Malady. Where's the Overgrown Tomb? There's the Overgrown Tomb. And our opponent's going to scoop it up. Because then we get a fight. They have to discard to get hexproof. In response, we fight. They have to get, the same old, same old. Assassin's Trophy actually seems okay in this matchup. Of course, Mystical Dispute comes in. This is one that it's built for. And this is where Thought Distortion is going to shine. Cards that I don't need, I kind of still like the Arboreal Grazer just to help ramp, but we're fine there. Polukranos, knowing that our opponent is running the Deathsprouts are way out. That's not a good card. Polukranos seems okay because it can be a beater. I think the Cavalier of Thorns is probably the other cut. And then we'd have to consider Assassin's Trophy, but I don't think that we have a card that I would cut for it. So we're going to call this good. So the thing is, we played against two legit decks so far. You see UI control everywhere. This regular build here. A lot of people have cut the enchantment route. They've gone back to more of a spells route than enchantment route. But I mean, the Thirst for Meaning enchantment route is still pretty good. Of course, this is a terrible hand, so we'll cut it. I'm going to keep this. You like 3 landers. The additional Hydroid Krasis is most likely the cut. Yeah, well, Euro's the cut if we were going to draw a Euro. Thanks, MTG Arena. Paradise Druid is a good keep on top. Helps us ramp. And we'll go ahead and throw out the Paradise Druid. It won't get countered. There's no Essence Capture or anything. Aether Gust. Decline goes on the bottom. I mean, that doesn't really affect us too much with the Aether Gust. Sorcerer's Spyglass. Probably the worst card to bring in versus our deck, in my opinion, because it's just going to get Casualty of War. So our opponent's going to name Tamiyo, but, I mean, our curve isn't really caring about Tamiyo right now. I think that the Euro is still a stronger card than a Paradise Druid, because if we are able to ramp like we did hit, that just gets us where we want to be. I think this Krasis is a card I think we want it for next turn, because we'll do a Krasis for 2. And that establishes something that his Teferi can bounce back. All right, Krasis for 2. Counter it. You know you want to absorb this. So I love playing against arena players too. They tend to be pretty terrible with their using their counter spells. I'd love this card to get Aether Gust or counterspelled. A 2/2 is not a threat. Come on, You know you want to Mystical Dispute it. You know you want to counterspell it. You can do it. We believe in you. It is Aether Gustable. Aww. Got me all hot and bothered there for a second. I thought it was going to get countered. But yeah, I'm very surprised with control players. One thing I noticed about control players, they think they're all that. They think they're the greatest players ever, and they make the worst mistakes with not managing their counter spells correctly. Like, if they have mana open, they automatically counter. All right, so let's get in with the 2 before we do anything. We're going to have a problem with Dream Trawler, so we need to keep up this mana. So I think it's just a Euro here from the graveyard. Okay, another Omen of the Sea. Smartly doesn't counter this. Awesome. So that makes it better than playing a Paradise Druid. I was wondering if I should go Paradise Druid. We can put the other Tamiyo, of course, on the bottom. We need to draw Casualties of War before it's even relevant. And pass to our opponent, which our opponent will most likely, yep, sacrifice one of these to scry some more. So, of course, we want a Dream Trawler to try to come down here. Yeah, womp womp. We still have the board state, though, and we're still hitting land drops, which is very important. Let's go with double Paradise Druid. That could get a Shadow to the Sky, but that's fine. It'll put us in pretty good position. What do we have? Black, black. Okay, so we have everything, so I can just get another forest in case we get a Nissa. Let's go Paradise Druid. And attack in with the Krasis. And then we can throw out another Paradise Druid. And now this is going to force my opponent to, like, shatter or do something. They're going to scry. Maybe they'll put out an Ardenvale, a Castle Ardenvale token. Okay, they decide to scry. So I'm indifferent with... Or they didn't have enough mana. Never mind, they didn't have enough mana for... Yeah, they did, for the Castle Ardenvale. So Shatter the Sky and come down here, or are they going to go for a Dream Trawler? Neither. So we'll get in there with the Hydroid Krasis. And then pay 2 life. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the 2 for the Hydroid Krasis. So we can do it for 6. And that still keeps up a Mystical Dispute. So 5, 6. Yep. And this is like a semi-bluff because I could care less about Whirlwind Denial here. That's fine. We won the cards. Oh, that counters the abilities too. Womp, womp, womp. Okay. Maybe I should have Mystical Disputed that. That is a good card versus Krasis. Spell and ability. Shatter the Sky. Okie dokie. We got our Euro mana now, though. Yep. So we'll just exile some of these bad boys. Can't get a Krasis back with the Tamiyo now, though. 3 cards left in my opponent's hand. And this is going to get us some advantage. All right. No land to put out here, but this is definitely a threat my opponent has to. He's going to crack the Omen of the Sea here to scry some more. Probably like a Teferi is going to come down to bounce Euro. Banishing Light Euro. Fine. All right. We do need to find some solution now. I'll throw out a Nissa. We want to bait out all the counter magic. for sure. Aether Gust is fine. I think I'll get Dove and Vetoes and lose my Mystical Dispute if I dispute it. And then we're just... Oh, do you know what, though? That's probably okay. So, Wait, can I actually cast a casualty? Cancel here. I can actually cast a casualty. No, 4. I'm 1 off. Womp, womp, womp. Womp, womp. I can cast a Tamiyo, though. So I'll just do a basic forest. And I still think we want the Tamiyo out, even though we can't activate it. Because we have casualties, of course, in hand. So Dream Trawler comes down, which is okay. So this allows us now to Casualty of Wars. So we can go black here. Let's go ahead and untap it. And it gets rid of a card out of my opponent's hand. So we got green, black, and we'll do another black. Casualty of Wars, which we can do artifact, enchantment, land, and creature. So Sorcerer's Spyglass, Dream Trawler, Banishing Light, and we'll go with the Castle Vantress. And hopefully that should... Yeah, there's not a counterspell that can stop this because we can just pay for it with Mystical Dispute. Has to get rid of an Absorb. Which Dream Trawler is going to be... Breeding Pool, bottom. Wait, can we still do another casualty here? Oh, but it's hexproof. It is hexproof. So if we got back casualty, we can get back like Mystical Dispute. Would our opponent want to kill Tamiyo? Or would they want to kill... I'm actually going to plus Tamiyo. And let's just go with another Casualty of Wars, I think. We missed it, but it gave us food for Euro. And we'll get rid of all of the stuff that we're not going to need. One, two, three, four. Throw another Temple, which is annoying. Oh, there's Thought Distortion. We'll keep it in hand just in case. And then we get to get in here for 6. I don't know if I cast a I think we do cast a Paradise Druid. If our opponent wants to go with another Shatter, I think we'll be in great shape. So opponent gets to draw cards with a 4. If they have any other card draw, they can kill Tamiyo, which would be the smart thing instead of going after Nissa. Ah, that's annoying. Bottom, though, is nice. So they get to kill Tamiyo. Oh, that is the wrong play, my dude. Tamiyo is the threat. I could just miss here with Thought Distortion, to be honest. We have lethal, though, don't we? Okay, yep. There you have it. That's a typical U-White control matchup. There's a lot of cards in here that push us over the edge against it. And it's definitely one of the decks that I farm the most because it's a very, very popular deck. All right, so we're approaching an hour here. Let's play one more. And see if we can get like an aggro matchup. So we saw the Fires deck, which won the last major tournament, as well as the UI Control, which was the second, or the most played deck at the tournament. And we're missing like Mono Red. Mono Red's the other matchup you see a lot. You still see like Rakdos, Knights. We're going against George the Fraud. This hand is fine. I typically like to keep temple heavy hands because it's something you can utilize with your growth spirals. Another great one we can use to ramp. So it is Blood Crypt here, so we are going to need to get Priest of Forgotten Gods, huh? We are going to need to get ahead. I'm not going to give more information right now. So I'll growth spiral at the end of my opponent's turn. So I'd hate to see a Mayhem Devil. Woe Strider even worse. I guess we can growth spiral now. And throw this temple in. And Deathsprout's perfect. So we're going to actually Deathsprout the Woe Strider this next turn. Because we want the land. And the Woe Strider will sacrifice whatever doesn't. Oh! We don't have the right. That's true. Okay, I need to keep back a green MTG Arena. So let's not tap like that. We're going to go Euro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Yeah, I didn't have the green, the other black there. We need to find a black source. So hopefully this does find a black source. He's a Hydroid Krasis. We'll go there. Euro kills itself. We go to 23, and we have another growth spiral. Again, we'll do it at the end of our opponent's turn. So Deathsprout was really good, but now I missed the black source. We only have one black source. So Casual Wars and Deathsprout are a little bit awkward at the moment. See if our opponent comes in with Priest. Gonna keep back Priest. We have everything we need. Mayhem Devil would be pretty rough if our opponent's got a Mayhem Devil, and there's the Mayhem Devil. So I'd love to draw a black source. It is not a black source. There's the black source. And Casualties just is going to be strictly better. Right now, I would assume. Yes. So we're going to go destroy target creature, destroy target land. Guess I think Mayhem Devil's still stronger. Opponent gets to sack it, but whatever. Opponent is out of lands too, though. I think we'll be okay on life. I didn't... Okay, that's fine as well for the Priest. To use it to get a card, that does make sense. But doesn't get to utilize the mana, most likely. And we have a Deathsprout the following turn. Possibly a Deathsprout and a Tamiyo if we draw a land. And this Deathsprout will ramp us up. So I could actually go a big Hydroid Krasis. I wonder if that's the play. Depends on what our opponent does here. Midnight Reaper, huh? Midnight Reaper. So, okay, so that gives us a Euro play if I tap my mana correctly. So we'll go... Okay, that does it fine. We'll Deathsprout the Woe Strider because we want the land. It's going to give us opponent some card draw. But we do get to gain some life off this other Euro. And then hopefully get like a big Hydroid Krasis the following turn. And hopefully our opponent just misses on getting more cards with Priest. Tamiyo would also be kind of nice. We can actually go like Tamiyo Euro the following turn. So I think we need as many blue sources as possible. Another Krasis. So, or did I need another green source? No, so we can go Tamiyo and Euro. And hopefully our opponent activates Priest the following turn. They're one off from casting the Woe Strider. There. Lame. Weird claim. They're going to want that claim back next turn. But going for lethal as quick as possible. So yeah, we do need to go Tamiyo. And then, what do I need here? I don't really... probably like something like Cavalier of Thorns would be the best card. Nissa, of course, can... I'm going to go... Polukranos we actually don't want in hand. I think something just like Nissa. We miss. And then we can go Euro, though. So, all the cards we don't need... But I feel like we are very behind here. Did not get another land. We're Hydroid Krasis flooded. I'm assuming Claim the Firstborn is an additional card in hand. That's why my opponent didn't, or just ran it out with the Mayhem Devil. I still think that's the better play, though. I think we're just dead to a claim. Like, claims are super good versus our deck. You don't see the claim version as often as we used to. A lot of them are more on, like, full out on the cat. I mean, I guess this deck's running the cat as well. But they've gone off the... Another Priest of Forgotten Gods. Midnight Reaper. Alright, so our opponent's going to activate Priest of the Forgotten Gods, most likely. I mean, I'm blocking. I'm blocking your Mayhem Devil. So opponent's going to sack the Mayhem Devil and the other Priest, I would assume. But look at Tamiyo. Oh, beautiful Tamiyo. What if I can actually pressure my opponent here, being down at 12? So we get to see Tamiyo in action. Now my opponent gets to get us down to a 5. And we bring back Casualties of War and get rid of a Midnight Reaper and then attack in. Or Hydroid Krasis for 1 million. But Hydroid Krasis is a liability to claim the Firstborn. Let's go ahead and attack first and see what... Because I think this attacking with Euro is smarter. Oh, man, do I want these? These can just come into play tapped. I don't have the life total for them. Like, Casualty of Wars keeps them off. Midnight Reaper. I think Deathsprout's just better here than Casualty of Wars. So I want some blockers with Hydroid Krasis just to take us away from... We want Deathsprout in our hand. So we're just going to Krasis for like... 2? And then Deathsprout costs 4. So we can just go ahead and throw out this temple. Because we want the Deathsprout, and we'll definitely keep the Nissa on top. So this gives us a blocker. So claim the Firstborn. Yep. We'll Deathsprout on this Midnight Reaper. Don't know why my opponent didn't sacrifice. We were out of basics. Can we still die here is the thing. Because we're taking 5, and then all I can see is Priest Mayhem Devil doing another. That does do 4. So if my opponent has Mayhem Devil, we die here. But that's the nuts. And let's see if my opponent actually sees that play. So double claim. Did not see the play. So needs a cat and a cat. Double cat. Cat Witch's Oven. Gotta have a Cat Witch's Oven. Close game. I still think we lost this one. I don't know if I could play it that differently. Woe Strider. Huh. Okay. Still, though, we're not in the greatest shape with... There's Witch's Oven. How do I make my opponent take a bunch of damage? Well, first off, Tamiyo is going to go get us Casualty of War. Or still Deathsprout. I still think still Deathsprout.
The past is never forgotten.
This goes down to a 2. We'll attack him with Euro. And put this in play tapped. We go up to a 5. The goat blocks. Let's see. Casualty of War gives us a better out than Krasis. We get Krasis for 2 for... Or Euro, the second Euro. And Krasis for 1. So we're going to keep this one. Gains us 3 more life. Put this on the battlefield tapped. Go for a Hydroid Krasis for 1. And I still feel behind here. Maybe I should have gone for Casualties and got rid of the Witch's Oven. Because Cat and... The good thing that we got going for us, our opponent doesn't have a lot of lands. They've missed a ton of land drops. They also don't have a lot of life with Midnight Reaper. So they need to put a cat out. Okay, gonna gain some life, but that takes away 2 mana. Am worried about another claim. Angrass Rampage. We sacrifice the... I think we actually sacrifice Euro here in case there's a claim. Okay. Okay, gonna go for... the Midnight Reaper. They played land. I think Polukranos just killing the priest here is pretty good. Or just Casualty of War. Kill the Midnight Reaper. Another Witch's Oven. Ugh. And I go down to 3. Ugh. Okay. Another... So, artifact, creature, land we're going to destroy. We're going to go for a Witch's Oven, a Priest, and still want to keep them off as much as... Oh, let's go with Castle Loch Twain. But unfortunately, we can't get a Euro out. These breeding pools were just awful. And we're just going to die. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to die to another, the third Claim the Unborn. I can't draw any non-basic here. So Polukranos can fight it though, but then I'm left to the mercy of... I think that's the better play. I think I lost this one. Deck just kept on... Yeah, there's just like Claim the Unborn just wins. There's so many things that just flat out win here. Wait, Claim is converted mana cost 3. Okay. So we're actually okay with Polukranos. So we're dead to like Witch, or we're dead to a Familiar. They've got to have double. There's no way. My opponent's either the worst, has the worst luck here. Woe Strider. Yeah, okay, so that switches things. There's got to be Cat. There's Cauldron Familiar. So definitely Thought Cauldron Familiar, because we got a 2. And then sack, and then go down to 1. But Ass has another Cauldron Familiar. See, that didn't do it. That was a weird claim, because we can block on the Polukranos, go down to a 2. Oh, yeah, it does work. Because then it can bring it back with the food, and unfortunately, yep, that is enough to do it. Womp womp. All right, so we lost that one. We do get a lot better now, though, with the Ritual of Soot will come in, and... Enter the God Eternals will come in. Aether Gust is okay in this matchup, but I typically don't find much of their stuff threatening. Like Claim the Unborn just leaves out the inevitable. The thing is, like, this particular match, I actually don't think that Nissa... We'll go Nissa down to a 1 of. Polukranos still seems pretty good in this. Deathsprout does as well. Euros do. Growsprows, the Grazers are great. So I got to figure out what cards, like Paradise Druid, actually, we're going to cut down to a 2 of, because it can be a liability. All right. So I just need to, I needed to hit that double black was the big difference. Before my opponent got the Midnight Reaper draw engine. Possibly I could have played that differently. We'll keep this. It's pretty good to get out of a fast Nissa. And there's my 1 Nissa. But typically this matchup is pretty easy because Casualties of War can be such a blowout. And we do have a lot of life game. This particular version that runs the claims is tough. I do want the Overgrown Tomb on top. Hate to take some damage here. Witch's Oven. All right, so we need to draw a card that can actually deal with that. We will pay 2 life. And we get to throw in Breeding Pool. Priest Forgotten Gods. Throw in Breeding Pool. Ooh, we'll throw in Temple. Definitely want the Enter the God Eternals. Let's go Growth Spiral first. See what it hits. Okay, that's actually interesting. Breeding Pool. Enter tapped. Fabled Passage. Crack Fabled Passage. Get a... We're actually good on all sources. I think I want a blue source just to be flexible. And then go Grazer. Throw in a Fabled Passage. Well, actually, it's crack... Oh, that comes up like tapped. Yeah, duh. And there we have some padding against Priest of Forgotten Gods. We'll have Nissa out on turn 4, which is pretty good. Problem is that Witch's Oven. Alright, so that is a card I do need to get rid of before the card draw engine happens. I'm not going to gain life off of... Okay, we can stop this already. Let's go ahead and get a... Let's go get a Forest. Can I do the Enter the God? I can. So pay 2 life. Blue. Untap. Blue. Green. Not green. We'll go after Midnight Reaper, and we'll actually target ourselves here. Opponent gets to Witch's Oven it, but since it has 2 targets, so it doesn't fizzle, right, with Enter, because it doesn't need to have both. Yeah, perfect. What'd we mill? Oh, come on. We milled our Casualty of War. And then... At least we get the draw engine gone off the Midnight Reaper. We have some padding versus claims. We have a Nissa that can ramp. We just need to find now a draw engine like a Hydroid Krasis. And then start putting my opponent under some pressure. Like, I'm okay with Noxious Grass. I actually like it when my opponent bring those type of cards in. That was not the card we wanted to see. We don't want to be flooding here. I mean, Growth Spiral is actually okay just to put on top here. It puts a card in the graveyard. And cantrips. Alright, here we go. Opponent down to 11. Now the claims would be pretty brutal. Will Strider's not a card I want to see. They can get rid of an excess priest, I guess. So we're going to go Growth Spiral. And there's a Krasis. And I am going to do a Krasis. Ooh, yeah. We'll do a Krasis for 4. Ritual is going to be very good. Sure, my opponent's just going to go block, sack, and utilize the priest. However, I think my opponent should have done that on their turn to utilize the mana. We should be in good shape here. Unfortunately, Ritual of Soot's going to take care of our board state, so who knows what's going to go down. Yeah, Ritual is actually not going to be something we're going to play out, because I think my opponent's going to... Ooh, I thought the priest was going to come down. Going to sacrifice a food for life. That was the card I did not want to see. Alright, we're attacking with everything. And we're going to have to ritual away, but at least the priests will be out of the way. Possibly if my opponent blocks with enough of them. Just so much card draw is going to happen here, and then I'm not going to have... My opponent's going to be ahead with the double Midnight Reapers, so we need to find another big Krasis. Yuck. Opponent's going to be full of cards. 5 cards in hand. Oh, this card's so good. Okay, so we'll go with the Grazer. Now that's actually interesting. Do we actually want to ritual here? Opponent's going to get out a Woe Strider, possibly. Yeah, I don't think we do, actually. But I'm feeling there's a claim the firstborn here, and now I'm going to kick myself for not going ritual, because I think it's going to cause... Okay, now I'm actually good with ritual. But again, my opponent's going to draw a ton of cards, which sucks. Dreadhorde Butcher. Huh? Yeah, they're going to draw a ton of cards. Well, we drew a land, of course. Run out of basics. This is actually weird for my opponent because the Hydroid Krasis could just be lethal. Gonna block with Midnight Reaper. No, not gonna block. Decisions, decisions. So which one was blocked? It was this one that was blocked. Ay, ay, ay. So we're going to sacrifice the token. My opponent gets to be at 1. Doesn't give a lot of leeway. Full hand because of that stupid Midnight Reaper. We'll put some pressure with a lousy Paradise Druid, but I think I'm going to lose this one again. It's just, we're too far behind now. So my opponent goes to, like 1 card off. Any land, anything here. Another Mayhem Devil, of course. And another, so that's the 4th priest. That's all of them. All 4 of the priests. And a Gutter Bones now. So I need to really draw out of this, and Enter the God... Eternals is actually pretty good. Opponent's going to sack it. But it keeps it... That was probably the best card we could have drawn. Yeah, it definitely was. And we get the Euro. There we go. There we go. So, we don't need any of the lands that are in our graveyard. Do need to find... Did we mill a Tamiyo? Is that one we milled? Ah, we milled a Tamiyo, unfortunately. Fortunately, we get another forest. And I will attack it with Paradise Druid, which will get the priest... make the priest block. And then my opponent will sacrifice the priest. So, really? Didn't sacrifice the priest. I guess it values my Paradise Druid. But I think this is game now. So, yeah, the Enter the Infinite, or Enter the God Pharaohs was the perfect card to draw. And wow, this has gone the distance. My opponent's down to 12 minutes. Whew, this game has been long. Priest. We don't have to face any more priests in this matchup. Only 2 more Midnight Reapers. The 2 more Mayhem Devils. So we've got rid of the majority of threats. Rankle is not... Yeah, Rankle's not a threat. We'll sacrifice the zombie. I'm sure that's what my opponent's going to do. Kill Gutterbone. Oh, killed Rankle. Oh, yes, because needs a blocker back. Because in this instance, the play tapped. All right, we will get in there with Euro. I probably should actually cast this Euro just in case we could have removed it. But this is going to gain us a ton of life. Cavalier is super good, too, because we can get back a Tamiyo. Probably sack with the Witch's Oven, right? Might as well. Gain some life. We'll go some Cavalier action. Oh, look at that. Let's thin out all of our cards here. I think we still have swamps left in our deck. Oh, we still have a forest, too. There's some swamps. And might as well cast this one from our hand to gain some more life. And our opponent's going to scoop it up now because we go back up to 17 after that. Okay, that was a lot rougher than I wanted. I didn't see any claims. Did my opponent just take out the claims? Assassin's Trophy actually does seem pretty decent in this matchup, but like I want Cavalier of Thorns, I want Polukranos, I want Ritual of Soot. This is where it's just tough. Like Paradise Druid is the one that might be a little bit awkward in this matchup because it just dies, but I want at least a couple of them. So we get like Paradise Druids for Gusts, but what does Gust actually take care of over like Assassin's Trophy? I think I'm going to keep my 2 Paradise Druids. I don't know. Again, this is a tough matchup for us. This more aggressive version of the sacrifice with this, especially the Dreadhorde Butchers. This is very keepable. I hate to shock myself turn 1, but it is what it is. We Grazer into Malady, into Breeding Pool. We keep on top. We do need that other blue source. Don't do a priest. You've done a turn 2 priest every game. Whoa! Whoa! I guess it gets Noxious Grasp. Well, Malady. And Mystery can go to the bottom because it's slow. We get Polukranos out in this turn, then enter the God Eternals. Feel very far ahead. Dreadhorde Butcher's okay. See if our opponent has something to deal with Polukranos. Oh, that's just better. We're just going to get it out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way before some shenanigans can happen. What do we need? Blue, blue, black. I think we actually just need a black that's not tied to a green. Or a green. Yeah, just green's fine here. I do take 2 more damage, though. Another Dreadhorde Butcher. Whatever. Whatever. The Butcher draw. Love to get a Casualty of War off the top. That would be the best. It is not, but we'll go ahead and mill ourselves. Hopefully get a Euro. We did. Thing is, we've just taken care of some non-essential cards. Let's go Polukranos. Fight the Midnight Reaper. I am actually going to get in there for 4. Put my opponent under some pressure. Mayhem Devil, which is going to get fought immediately. Interesting that my opponent decided to go that route. So we can go Nissa and fight, correct? Green, green, black. And I need a black still. So we'll go Nissa. And this can allow us to fight right now. Kapow! And then we can untap the breeding pool. So we can go the growth spiral. We're going to go ahead and attack with both of them. Really put my opponent under pressure. Triple Dreadhorde Butcher, huh? Arena does not like to shuffle my opponent's hand. What was it? 4 priests last time? But this can be tough for my opponent to beat now with the Nissa. Still not unfeasible. Another Mayhem Devil. We'll grow Spiral. Throw in a Fabled Passage. Fabled Passage wants to go get us a Forest. Wow, chooses to go after Nissa. That's interesting. I think you have to go after my life total this time around. Wow, that's pretty good. I think we go black, black, green. We Deathsprout on the Mayhem Devil. And there's a scoop, right? You scoop it, get another Forest. There's the scoop. All right, so 3-0 with the deck. Performs swimmingly. These are all legit top-tier decks, which is hilarious that we're in the free-to-play, nothing on the line, just open play, and people are playing top-tier decks. And it just ran through. So, yeah, the list is pretty good. I wouldn't change anything at the moment here. Assassin's Trophy's still up in the air if it's better than Aether Gust. But just, yeah, not quite certain. See what we get from our Theros Beyond Death Pack. We like to open up packs, right? A Tectonic Giant. Alrighty, so there you have it. 3-0, all tier decks. A couple of those are nail biters. Got some good top decks in there. But love the deck. Think it's very well positioned. I'll have to let you know how I end. Let's see if I've made any change since the start. We went up a place. Wasn't I 144? Now I'm 143. It's kind of funny how it works with the rank. So people below us actually lost some matches. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.